In today's video, we shall look at electric field versus electric potential. Namely, what is the difference between these two and how to obtain one from the other. Electric field is a vector, which means it has magnitude and directions. Electric potential is a scalar, so we don't have to worry about its direction. It has only magnitude. The unit to quantify electric field is volt per meter or Newton per coulomb. The SI unit to quantify electric potential is volt, capital V. Now let's see how they are related to each other. If you have an electric field in a region going in a rightward direction like that, so that is your E. For this electric field to exist, the region where the electric field exists must consist of points which are at different potential. So let's assume that this point is point A and that is point B. The potential at point A must be greater than the potential at point B. Now we are talking about electric potentials. If you have, let's say, 2 points, point A and point C, and they are at the same potential, then there will not be an electric field between them. In order for electric field to exist, there must be a potential gradient between 2 points. So assume the potential gradient, which is just the difference in potential, is delta V, and the distance between them is delta x. So the magnitude of electric field is given by delta V over delta x. That explains the unit volt per meter for the electric field. Note, I am writing the magnitude of the electric field. The complete expression that relates electric field to electric potential is as follows. The vector electric field equals minus the difference in the potential, the electric potential between A and B, over the distance between points A and B, times the unit vector I hat, if the electric field is heading along that direction. In language of calculus, generally we write electric field as minus dV dx I hat if we are dealing with a one-dimensional case. If we are dealing with two-dimensional case, then it's going to be minus dV dx I hat minus dV dy j hat. Two-dimensional case, that is. If you look at this equation, for the time being, let's concentrate on the one-dimensional case. It relates electric field to electric potential. In principle, if you know one, you can get the other, both ways. We shall see how this works in a minute. Another point to be made is regarding how a charge reacts to, say, electric field and electric potential. This is how the mechanics of an electric charge is related to electric field and electric potential. Electric field is related to the force that is acting on such a charge that is moving in an electric field. Electric potential is related to electric potential energy of that charge moving in such a field. This is how it works. We know from our previous video, if you have a charge in a region where you have an electric field, the force on that charge is quite simply Q times the electric field. If this is a positive charge, the direction of the force and the direction of the electric field are the same. If it's in a negative charge, they are antiparallel. For example, if you have a negative charge and an electric field that's moving to the right, the force on it would be to the left. Now let's see how electric potential is related. Assume the charge is moving from point A to point B in that field region. At point A, the electric potential is VA. At point B, the electric potential is VB. So we say the electric potential energy of that charge at point A is Q times the electric potential at point A. And electric potential energy of that charge at point B equals the strength of the charge times the electric potential at point B. In analyzing motion for such a charge, usually what's important is the change in the potential energy, the electric potential energy of that charge as it moves from point A to point B. And that is given by UQB minus UQA, because B is the final point, A is the initial point. And using these expressions, the change in the electric potential energy of that charge as it moves from A to B can be written as Q times VB minus VA. So you see how the dynamic of the same charge can be expressed either in terms of force or energy, or in other words, electric field or the electric potential. Now let's see how to obtain, for example, electric field from electric potential. Now we know electric field, say in one-dimensional case, is related to electric potential in the following manner. Or you can take that direction not to be along the x-axis, it could be in some radial direction. So the expression becomes like that. It would be easier to determine electric field from electric potential because that involves derivative. If you want to go the other way around, you want to determine electric potential from electric field, then the expression would simply become minus the integral of E dot dr. So this involves an integral, which is harder by comparison to do compared to a derivative. Let's see how this works. Assume you have a point charge. So the system that we are dealing with is a point charge, Q. We know the electric potential at point P, a distance r away, is given by KQ over R. If you want to determine the electric field at point P due to that same charge, it is given by minus dV dr in a radial direction. The radial direction is like that. So taking the derivative of this expression with respect to r, you get minus KQ r squared r hat. So this minus will get cancelled, giving you this expression, which is the expression for electric field for a point charge. You can also go the other way. We know the electric field at point P is given by KQ r squared r hat. Let's assume you want to determine the potential at point P. It is given by minus E dot dr, where dr is the differential of a vector in a radial direction. So the dot product of electric field, which is defined by the direction r hat, with dr, which is also in the same direction as r hat, will simply become dr. So the integral will have the following integrand, E dr. So E is KQ over r squared dr. And that's going to give you KQ over r for the potential. Do not forget an integration constant, let's call it C. In order to determine this integration constant C, we can assume the potential at infinity to go to 0. So that means your C is 0. So therefore the electric potential for a point charge is KQ over R. As an example 2, let's look at charged conducting cylinder. So the cylinder is like that. Let's say the radius is capital R. And let's assume it has charge per unit length lambda. Now we know from previous video, the electric potential at points outside the cylinder is given by the following expression. Charge per unit length over 2 pi epsilon naught, where epsilon naught is permittivity of vacuum, natural log radius of that cylinder over the distance where the observation point is. Let's assume you want to determine the electric potential at that point, and that point P is at distance little r from the center. So that's what the little r is. What about the electric field at point P? It is given by minus dV dr, and it points in a radial direction. We note that the electric potential is given by a natural log expression. So natural log of r minus natural log of little r. So this times that is a constant. When you take a derivative of that with respect to little r, it will just get 0. So that means to compute the electric field, you have to do the following derivative. d over dr lambda 2 pi epsilon naught minus natural log of r hat. So this will cancel that, giving you an expression with the following form. 1 over r hat. So that is the electric field at point P. Let's look at the following problem. The electric potential between a cathode and an anode is given by the following expression. V dx to the power of 5 over 3. D is a constant, x is the distance measured from cathode. That means if you have a point here, a distance x away, the potential is given by that expression. The distance between the two electrodes is 10 millimeters. The potential difference is 150 volts. Find the expression for the electric field in terms of x. So let's determine the magnitude of the electric field. It's given by dV dx. So taking the derivative of that with respect to x would give you 5 over 3 dx raised to the power 2 over 3. We note that this is anode and this is cathode. So that means the electric field is going in that direction, in minus I hat direction. So the full expression is that. We still need to figure out the constant D. That can be figured out from the expression for V. We know the potential difference between the two electrodes is 150 volt. So that means 150 equals D, and the distance x between the two electrodes is 10 millimeters. So 10 over 1,000 meter raised to the power 5 over 3. That would give you the constant D, which is 3.23 times 10 to the power 5 in SI unit. Now let's do part B. Determine the force on an electron when it is halfway between the electrodes. That means it is at a distance of 5 millimeters from cathode. So the force, which itself is a vector, equals the charge of the electron times the electric field at that distance, 5 millimeters. This can be determined from this expression. So the electric field at that point equals 5 over 3. D is 3.23 times 10 to the power 5. That is what we have just determined. X is 5 millimeters, so 5 over 1,000 meter raised to the power 2 over 3. And don't forget minus I hat. The charge of the electron, remember it's a negative charge, it's minus 1.602 times 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. Substituting this in here, we can calculate the force, which will turn out to be minus 2.52 times 10 to the power minus 15 Newton minus I hat. So this minus will kill that minus, leaving that as an answer. And as you can see, if you have a negative charge, the direction of the force on it, it's going towards the anode, as it should be. Thank you for watching.